let's just sew whatever.
Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. In today's video we are making the Restoration Mini Crossbody Bag from KMG Handmade. This is my friend Kristen. This is her pattern. I made a few changes that I explain in the cutting video. This is the sewing video. I'm doing great, I'm nailing it. And we make it. Great. I don't have a crossbody strap on this bag at the moment because I'm out of nickel snap hooks, but I will get some from work. Yeah, super sophisticated shape. It's small but mighty. It's got a nice depth to it. It would hold a lot. It does have a completely divided lining, so there's no chance of anything you put on this side migrating to the other. And then it has a zippered compartment in the middle. It's really fascinating the way it comes together. It is a domestic friendly pattern if you pick your materials wisely. I would definitely say using accessory weight vinyl, something to that effect would be good. I used the textured printed vinyl from my website and Jacob Black vinyl. I did not have any issues with bulkiness or thickness, and I used SewFuse Plus for the lining. Overall, it came together pretty quickly and I had a blast making it, so I hope you will join me while we sew it together. Starting with our pattern piece A, which is the piece that you have to sew together, which then gets top stitched along either side. I'm going to sew those together. I'm using like a 4.5 stitch length. And as instructed in the pattern and as I show in the cutting video, I have marked out my seam allowances on these pieces. And then I am repeating the front panel to be the back panel as well, instead of just that straight one piece of fabric. I thought that would be super fun. Another change that I'm doing is I'm adding a zipper overlay to the back side, so it's going to be cut and sewn just a little bit differently than instructed in the pattern, but that is okay. I'm gonna grab my big old seam roller, which is somewhere. Yeah, there it is. This is a craft tool seam roller that I got off of Amazon. This is a hefty seam roller. It's a good one. I really like it. What you can also do is tape down that panel if you'd like, but I am going to sew down each side. You could do one line of stitches, you could do 2 lines of stitches. Just go nice and slow to make sure that you keep your stitch seam allowance consistent, especially on this side that is all solid if you are doing one. So instead of keeping my eye on the needle, I'm keeping my eye on the inside of the foot that I've lined up with that seam. So it's nice and consistent. That's nice. So yeah, you could add 2 more rows if you wanted to, but I think it'll be good. We'll repeat that on the other side. And then within my cutting video, I also explain how best to cut this so that your panels aren't mirrored. They're the same, if that makes sense. Like, so they're mirrored, but when you put them together, they're going to be the same. Because I didn't want it to be like a Harley Quinn opposites looking thing. I wanted it to be same. So there we go. Seam rolling. They seam me roll and nope, I'm done. And to start, I add a little back stitch. Make sure if you're using an industrial, you hold your threads. On the 1181, it doesn't have quite as strong of a pull as some other machines, so just be mindful of that as you start sewing. And then I'm even just locking in that stitch line. So now we're gonna head over to our heat press and fuse those pieces and cut out the zipper pocket opening. I always do that, I need to stop. I'm going to trim that so it's nice and even along the top. And then you can decide which one you like the overlay for. I'm also worried my overlay is a little bit big. No, it's not. Okay, cool. It's big, but it's not like too big. So, can either do that or we can do that. I think I like it on this one because I don't want to cover up that flower right there. So this is how we're going to do that. So this piece gets the overlay, so we're going to fuse this piece on here. And then keep in mind you want to line that up within your seam allowance marks. And I'm going to fuse this into place. And while that one presses, I'll go ahead and get this one situated. Lining up your center mark and your seam allowances. And then this part is going to be truly, oh, good thing I checked. My overlay is a little too long for some reason, by like ½ an inch. So if I had just cut out the box, it would have been off by a little bit. I don't think that's too big of an issue, so I'll just extend it. Is that, yeah. Wonder what I did. So I'm truly terrified right now. I shouldn't be, but I am. All right, so that should be good. That is gonna look so good. So now we can head to our sewing machine. Gonna line up the overlay to be about 1.5 inches, I believe. So let's see, this is 3/4 of an inch. So I'm gonna measure about 3/4 of an inch. Let's do ½ an inch. Yeah, we'll do ½ an inch above the box. So this is where I want to line up the very top edge of my zipper pocket overlay. Okay, so that is 2¼ inches from the topmost edge. I'm so sorry you couldn't see that. So I can use my silver marking pen to trace 2¼ inch from the top edge. And so I know that's where I'm gonna line up the top edge of my zipper pocket overlay. So now we're gonna just head over to the machine and dig in. The only hardware I'm gonna need are D-rings, purse feet, and zipper pulls. And then my crossbody strap hardware, 2 snap hooks, and a slider.
Editing Lauren here to say that I hit a button on my microphone. Why are there buttons other than just record it how it sounds, please and thank you? I don't know. But the next couple of minutes, half an hour, 40 minutes, are not gonna be the greatest audio, and I'm deeply sorry.
God, keep doing it. All right, I'm terrified of this right now. What I'm gonna do, I probably don't need to do, but I'm gonna do it anyway, is I'm going to stitch around the box that I'm gonna cut out. I wanna make sure that that is secure. And it gives you an idea of that area. And just to make sure that you're not going to see any of that with the overlay on top. So I feel pretty confident in cutting this out now. Just kidding. No, it'll be fine. So just a reminder, this is not part of the pattern at all. Sort of it is, but mostly it isn't. You do add a zipper pocket and you do cut out your stabilizer, etc., but you would be adding your lining right sides together and flipping it through on the pattern piece that is not pieced together. But like I said, I wanted to make both sides of the bag piece together. So that's why we did this. It does not matter if that stitching comes loose in some places. I mostly wanted it to know exactly where to cut, and so that these stitches would be a little bit more secure because they're trapped in that section. So I'm going to add double-sided tape. If you want to add edge coat to this piece or glue to secure it, you can. So there's what that looks like. Pretty good. Probably could have centered that a little bit better, but it's not terrible. So we're going to, yep, okay, all right, yep. So along the outer portion, 2 to 3 knots. I'm gonna try that like surgeon's knot though, where you just twist it around 2 to 3 times. See if that works. I mean, yeah. So that secures that area there. And then I'm gonna work on adding our lining to the zipper. So we're gonna want the longer side at the top of the zipper, and my zipper pull is to the left. I like to line up the edge without the zipper pull and push the other piece off to the side. And I'm gonna sew these together. So it should be right sides together on that zipper. And then we'll open it and top stitch. You can also choose to just tape it and sew it, like fold that edge down, tape sew, but I don't know, I like the double line of stitching. It's very secure to me, very secure seaming. Okay, and then here's the other side. Again, right sides touching. Line up the raw edge of your zipper, the raw edge of your pocket. That's fine. I'll reattach it. Open this. Okay. And I want my zipper pull to end over there, so I'm going to reattach it really quick. That's together. Taller part is at the top. Okay. And then center your zipper tape within that opening. And then we're going to top stitch it down. Lining flayed out and open. Make sure you don't lose your zipper pull. But you want it to stay off to the side as much as possible. And we're going to start over here where our zipper pull is. Back stitch. And just go nice and slow. Okay. All right, so we're getting close to the other side, which means we want to stop, bring our zipper pull in. So I'm just pushing it back through, leaving my needle down. Straightening all of that back out and finishing off that line of stitching. All right, and then we're going to fold this down So they're not off by a lot because we had that longer piece at the top. But you don't want this to be longer than your exterior panel. So I'm going to trim the excess. We're going to close this off completely. And I don't really trim anything up. I'm just going to peel this back and sew across that raw end of zipper tape. And then pivot, sew across the bottom. And then come up the top. That looks so nice. So there is our finished zipper pocket. Looks so good. So we're going to add our nameplate to the other side. I'll go ahead and do 3 inches up from the bottom, centered. Mark that out. You ever look away and you're like, I don't know where I marked. And then you can make sure that it's nice and straight. Yep, that's good. Okay. Now, we'll continue with our exterior by putting right sides together. And we're going to sew that 3/8 inch seam allowance all the way. And we're going to open that up and top stitch. So this is a tricky spot. So just do one side. And we'll open that up. Ooh, I should have done the other side. Because if my top stitches don't look perfect on this side, it'll be pretty obvious. So I have something called Silent Hero tape from Dream Big. And this is supposed to be like a reinforcement tool on seams like this. I might try it. So I'm going to tape down the sides. Let's try it. Because when you butterfly a seam, you're exposing those stitches, if that makes sense. Like, you could easily just pop that open, like if it were stabbed. Oh, that's excessive. That's aggressive talk. You know what I mean? I don't know. So you can see how much just taping that will help you put that together. Let me go ahead and just You could even use like a scrap of binding too for this if you wanted. Oh, I almost ripped it. That won't work. Yeah, I've just had this sitting here, so I'm excited to try it. So we're gonna sew that in a rectangular shape to prevent any unraveling as well. So yeah, I really don't feel any bulk added from that Silent Hero tape. It's just gonna help reinforce that. Oh, I thought that was thread. It's funny. So yeah, I think that's great. So what that Silent Hero tape is it's just zipper zipper twill without the zipper on it. So you could even use twill tape, something like that. Just a non-fraying tool, essentially. So now we'll line up the other side, which is going to be a little more challenging. To top stitch. So my interfacing is a little bit off. That's okay. I'm just going to keep a consistent seam allowance. Figure it out in the end. If your machine is not a fan of double-sided tape, this might not work well. This method. Oh my gosh, this bag is such a cute little size. Okay, so that's what it's looking like. We're gonna go ahead and start with the bottom. It's a little bit wider in first. I'm gonna start across the bottom. We're just gonna go really slow. And kind of turn it like a sleeve so that you can see that side seam. All right, and then we're getting to the top, so I'm gonna turn this at a 90-degree angle, come across, and then pivot. And then line back up against the seam. All right. So that's what that is looking like. That's with our Silent Hero tape to help reinforce. So like kind of you can see up here how that's coming undone. That tape is helping keep it from really coming apart. And this is due to me just not like backstitching well enough, or you can pull your threads and tie. But we're gonna hide that when we turn the bag to top stitch it shut. And what's nice is we've got that stabilizer to kind of line up that edge with. So it's gonna be really good. I'm excited. And what's cool is like we've got our center markings around all sides of the bag. So we can move on to the base of the bag. And we'll add our purse feet. You can use 4 or 5 or even 6 if you want. But we're gonna mark the centers. This is easier to do before you add your interfacing, just FYI. But I forgot. So I'm installing the purse feet through the Decaville Heavy. And then I'm gonna add some accent stitching around the bottom Decaville Heavy. It's just gonna help it prevent from lifting and add some fun decorative stitching to the bottom, especially since I have lime green thread. It's gonna be fun. So much fun. Ah, crap. I still don't have white duct tape. What am I doing with my life? So I'm gonna go ahead and cut a little piece of self-adhesive woven interfacing to place over my purse feet. This is gonna save my hands. You could also do foam if you wanted, but I'm gonna cut that really quick. I would just like to say I eyeballed this. It's perfect. Thank you. All right, so we're gonna smoosh the corner, peel it back. And then it helps to just do a little piece at a time. Okay. So that helps there. All right, then I'm gonna follow the edge of my interfacing. Okay, I'm wrapping it around 2 to 3 times. I'm gonna pull. Honestly, now that I know that that works, I might tie off my threads more. The idea of like tying it, wrapping it, tying it, wrapping it, I'm like, it's too much. But knowing I could just wrap, 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 tie, I'm like, okay, all right, I can do that. So, wrap, 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 okay. Pull. Pretty. It's a little sloppy, but it's fine. All right, yeah, we're gonna touch the bottom now. Wow, feels fast. But it's because we didn't add any straps. Yeah. So I'm gonna line up my center here. Clip that. I'm gonna baste that together. Okay. So I'm just gonna do 1/8 of an inch from the outer edge to baste that down. And repeat that on the other side. All right. And what's cool is the sides of your bag have already been top stitched in a butterfly open. So it's a lot easier to hold all those layers flat because they're already held flat. I'm just going to clip all around the bottom. You can staple these pieces together if you'd like. I think I'll be okay. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start on a nice flat spot, and we're just gonna sew next to, but not through, our stabilizer. I like to have my screwdriver handy to help me hold all those layers and prevent puckering. And slowly around the curves, using my screwdriver to press the corners together. And just make sure that you keep the raw edges of your bottom and your bottom exterior lined up. And you can slide your clips over instead of like fully removing them. And then luckily I've got the section here basted together. Okay, I was like, am I at a bobbin? Make sure you stop with your needle in. Okay, weird. And then we'll pivot around. Make sure your center seams along the side are still lined up. And we'll check. Ooh, that looks so good. I'm not sure if you can see. Debating on if I'm supposed to trim the bottom or not. Feel like yes, but I'm gonna check. Yes, we want to trim down the seam allowance. And now we can turn this right side out. Such a cute little size. I'm going to start taping this piece now. I just need to find like my 1/4 inch wide tape. Maybe I ran out. But yeah, I'm gonna fold over that top edge, tape it so that it's done, and I don't have to worry about it when we get done with our lining. So I'm gonna put the tape right under that 3/8 inch line, right above your stabilizer. And then don't untape everything at once. Just go slow, peel your tape, and then take care of that seam there. You're folding it to the second line. And now you can kind of clip it together as well. I think you could also use a glue for this part and like let it set. So we'll just let that rest. And just double check that everything lines up nicely. I'm a little sad. I feel like I need to call attention to it. I got a little too close to the edge there, and when I turned it, it just kind of broke through. I might be able to fix it by taking it to my cylinder arm. Well, no, I don't know. It would be a shady looking fix, but I feel like it needs to be fixed. So let's try it. All right, it's not bad, but I'm glad it's fixed. So I'll go ahead and tie that off inside. Maybe that doesn't work. Okay. Well, I feel better that I caught it. It's a very small mishap. You can barely tell that it even happened now. So, whew. All right, let's move on to our lining. Interior zippered pocket. I just cut my zipper lengths needed for the lining. Here is one of my interior side panels. Wrong side. And here is the other actual slip pocket piece. So we're going to untape the sides. I taped all these in the cutting video. Fold the long raw edges into the center over the tape. Okay. We're going to fold this up. And I like to baste or tape across the top edge just a little bit. Just to prevent those layers from shifting. So we're going to line this up with the almost center. Fold this over. And this is a really fun place to add a woven label as well. And whichever side you want to be the top, whatever. So I thought this would be the top, but I decided to flip it over because I had more of the vinyl on the back side than I did on the top. So I wanted to make sure I caught the back side when I top stitched. And now we can center this on our lining panel. One inch from the bottom. I'm going to start this way and sew around with like once around and come back the other way. I'm going to Pac-Man top stitch like I like to do. So it's super secure, and then we could even add a rivet into the top corners of the vinyl. So there's that. Come over one stitch and pivot. And even if you wanted to just go to the bottom corner completely and then cover your stitches again, this is the very bottom of the bag. Like, nobody's going to see that. Okay, and then I'll come over that 1/4 inch to meet there. And we'll just keep it consistent with the okay. Cute. I like it. So go ahead and add 2 rivets right here. Punch my holes and top stitch. Just throwing this out there, I don't have nickel snap hooks in my possession currently. So I'm going to sew some of the strap, but I'm not going to be able to finish it in this video. Well, no, I can. It'll just be a different day, but you don't need to know that. All right, punch in the holes for my rivets. So I like to put the post up through the back and then add the cap, and then I'll set this. Okay. This side is finished. This one does not get any kind of pocket. So I think it's time to work on the last little pieces. I'll go ahead and top stitch and add, that is not double-sided tape, my connector. We'll set those aside for now. Okay, interior center divider pocket. So it's a 6-inch length of zipper. I'm gonna go ahead and add my zipper pulls. Okay. So we're folding the tabs in half and then folding that raw end over the zipper tape. So make sure that you are not using a thick material for your tabs. Okay. Wrong side. So that's completed. And then essentially what we're going to be doing is making a zipper pocket. So really quick, I'm going to add double-sided tape to the right side of all of these pieces. You could also just do it to your zipper, whatever works. You don't need the whole piece, just a little bit so that your zipper pull doesn't shift. Because you want to make sure that there's a bit of a gap on either end. Okay, so there's that. You could use 2 separate lining colors so that the inside of your divider pocket is a different color, etc., if you would like. And then we're just going to top stitch through, well, I don't think it matters. Yeah, we'll just go through all pieces. Since it's raw edged, a divider that's going to get sewn into our side seams. And the structure of this water resistant canvas, just those 2 layers, feels really nice. I would say the water resistant canvas feels like an interfaced cotton. Kind of fun. Okay. Center that. Pressing it open. So now we're just going to put raw lining sides together. We're lining up all the raw edges. Mm-hmm. All right. Zipper panel. So we're going to square off this zipper tape. Man, I wish I had my lighter. Normally I use a lighter to finish off that raw edge and hold it in place, but I'll go ahead and use my sewing machine just to baste it. So what we're doing essentially is just bringing the raw fraying edge of our zipper to the raw long edge of our zipper, creating this curve that will make it so you cannot take the zipper pull off, essentially. And you want to make sure that they're equal. Okay. See, your zipper pull can't go anywhere. Unlike this side where it could just whoop, fly right off. And then we're gonna mark 3/4 of an inch on the back side of all these pieces. Sorry. I should really move that cup holder, but where my pens all are. So this is where we're going to fold the edge of that zipper panel into. We're going to tape under that line. And fold the short raw edge up to that line. Okay. More double-sided tape. This is where our zipper is going to go. And then we'll repeat on the exterior fabric or other side of your zipper panel, whatever. And I'm going to use thicker tape for this since this vinyl is a little bit stronger than the other fabric I used, so it might need that extra fold.
We are now back to our regularly recorded audio.
We're going to start with one of our exterior and one of our lining of the zipper panel, zipper closure. Line that up there. Hello, sir. Can I help you? And then right sides together. And I like to unzip my zipper at this point just so I can get as close as possible. Trim those excess threads. And then we're going to open this up and top stitch all the way around. Press that flat. So I'm pulling those layers apart, lining up the long raw edge across the top. And then we're going to top stitch. Then I'm going to baste along this raw edge. See, my lining's a little bit short, so I'm going to come in about 1/4 of an inch. And now it sounds like my bobbin is getting low, so I'm going to go ahead and swap it. Well, I can wait. I'm still adding this other. Excuse you, sir? I need what's under here. Here. Okay. So what I like to do is zip my zipper back up. I will line up the edges of the panel. Lay that flat, and then I'll unzip it again. And place the lining right sides together. All right, now I'm going to change my bobbin. Don't throw that away. It's a struggle. I probably could have made it, but like it's not worth risking, I guess. So we'll have a brand new one that'll get us through the rest of the bag. I would think. But you can always have a another one ready for top stitching the bag in case you're like, I don't want to mess it up. However, I would always do a little test with a new bobbin before you start sewing, just to make sure it's inserted properly. You don't want it to be the final step and all of a sudden you've messed it up. Because that would be so sad. And there is our zipper panel completed. We're just going to fold that in half, snip the center, or use a marking pen. And then if you want to add your zipper end hardware now, you totally can. I don't like to until the very, very end, so I've left my zipper really long for that reason. And we can grab the last of our lining pieces. So I'm gonna double check the pattern. We're gonna be adding our D-ring strap connectors to this seam. There we go. All right, 1 inch from the left edge. And this is going to get placed face down on that panel. like that. And then here is our cute little zipper panel. This is going to be a perky zipper panel, so that's why our pieces are faced down. Our strap connector. I'm just going to baste all that together so that nothing shifts. And then I'm going to add the top edge of that lining. And then we're top stitching underneath that seam. So now you can see how that's gonna sit. And then we're gonna repeat that on the other side of the bag. And you want the strap connectors to be on opposite sides of the bag. So that should be facing down inside the bag. I know it seems counterintuitive to the finished product that you are wanting, but it is correct, I promise. The vinyl strap connector is so thick. You saw my machine, like, not necessarily struggle over it, but that area, it was like, no. Alright, so we're gonna flip this up to top stitch through. Make sure you are only sewing through that panel. Oh. Alright, so if you are looking down in, that's what it would look like. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark that 3/4 of an inch. That's the line we're gonna be folding our lining to. I think that might be helpful for later. Alright, and now we're adding our divider. And you want to take note that it zips closed the same direction of your exterior. We're going to line this up along the bottom edge. And we're going to stop sewing 1/2 inch from the bottom. We're going to baste that in 1/2 inch, back stitch, stop, pull away. And then we're going to pull this over to the other side and repeat that. Only this time we're going to start 1/2 inch from the bottom and come up to the top. And then we're going to put right sides together for the lining, making sure to line up all those seams. And again, we're just going to do that 3/8 inch seam allowance, starting at the top, but stopping 1/2 inch from the bottom. So it creates an interesting shape. It might be a little bit like, what? But trust the process. Okay. Trimming all of those threads. I think I'm going to go ahead and rivet this connector now as well.
Do not do that. Don't rivet that.
Here is what it's looking like from the top view. I'm going to make sure that it's pretty well spaced. And then here is the bottom. It's so weird. But you can see here, you're able to separate those layers. I mean, it's weird, but it's also like just so fascinating. All right, let's make sure we've got wrong side facing up. Yes, I see the white. And that is the right side, so this is wrong side. So we're going to line up bottom, center first for both. And we're going to sew that first. And this is why you wanted to make sure you used a thin enough material for the lining. And make sure you're centering that. There we go. There we go. Okay. Okay, we're going to sew that with a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'm going to start only at the bulk. And just make sure that your layers are sitting correctly. You should only be sewing through the center of the base. You should still be able to see your lining fabrics and pull those away. So making sure, pull that out and away. I'm going to stop at 1/2 inch. And then this is where we're going to turn these pieces and clip it like a regular circled bottom bag. So it's so unique. I love it. And really not too complicated so long as you've got thin enough materials. If you're really worried about the bulk of that divided slip pocket, you might even be able to kind of sew the lining fabric half an inch shorter or something so that you're only sewing through 4 layers of fabric here instead of 6. That might ease the stress on a machine as well. Okay, doke. I'm going to unzip that just so you can kind of see what it is looking like. Now I'm just going to sew around the whole circular base using a 3/8 inch seam allowance. I'm going to trim down any excess. And then check through the lining that you don't have any gaps. Like, I think, yeah, I've got a little gap right there. So, now we're just ready to put the exterior, put the lining inside the exterior. So I'm gonna start taping this. We don't need to flip this. It's already done. And we're folding it to that marked out line. So I want to put my tape right above it, all the way around. And then she also states in the pattern you can top stitch this I'm just gonna tape it. And then I may switch to my cylinder arm, I'm not sure. It's like, I hate to use it for a pattern in case people don't have one, but I'm also like, why would I get one if I'm not gonna use it? You know? We'll see. We'll see how I feel. The last drop-in lining that I did that I tried to sew on this flatbed, I messed it up royally. It was so bad. So I don't necessarily want to repeat that. And it should kind of fold over the stabilizer and then just right up next to that line. So we are going to top stitch the bag using a cylinder arm just because when I riveted through the D-ring connectors, I got a little close to the top and I did not take into account how tricky that might be to top stitch. So I've got a cylinder arm machine with a skinny walking foot attached, and I am using a Thor, but you could also look at the Artisan, Juki, Texo, there's all kinds, and they're all, you know, very similar. So I am using the Texo. It does have a needle positioner, but the needle positioner is currently a little bit wonky, so it doesn't quite stop where it should. Hopefully that's not an issue. I just need to remember how I was told to fix it and do it. But honestly, I like the needle positioner, but I don't love the needle positioner. I like to be in control of that. So that's my stance on that. So I can go ahead and lift this up around my machine and start at the top. If you can't get a good grip on holding your threads, it doesn't hurt to like do a few stitches by hand and then continue on. I'm just gonna go as slow as possible. The materials I'm using right now, this is pretty thin. This is a layer of vinyl, maybe 2 layers of interfacing, and that water resistant canvas, so there's not a whole lot going on with it. So there has not been a need for the hump jumper. I'm getting over this little section right now, so I might need one. Oh, hold on. Okay. But I think we'll be okay. If you used bulkier fabrics, you might have needed that. So right now, it seems like my needle is, oh, okay. It's yeah, it's working. I fixed it. Don't ask me how. But there's a little hex screw, and you're supposed to like loosen it, make sure you put your needle in the position you want it to stop in, and then tighten it, wait for the red light to come back on. But that could be also very wrong. Something about the red light, and that fixes it. Okay? Okay. So I'm getting to my D-ring connector that's on the lining. So I need to go pretty slow and kind of like maneuver the bag a bit, because I do not want to hit that hardware. Let's not break a needle. But I did tape my lining to my exterior. I just didn't do it in all locations. I probably should have, but I did like 2 larger chunks. So this bag is fairly lightweight, so holding it while top stitching it isn't too difficult. But if you're using really thick, heavy materials, this might be a little bit tricky. There's also an edge roller we can use. Oh, that screw is just really tight. To rest up against the edge of the bag, I think I just need to loosen something. And then just make sure that your lining and your exterior stay aligned. Oh, now it's stopping in the up position. Wonder if I switch, if that'll help. Yeah, it did, okay. Dang it. I missed a little spot in the lining. So absolutely no tension issues at all anywhere. I can go ahead and pull my threads to the lining, tie those off. The only problem I ran into is I did not catch my lining right here. Just this itty bitty teeny tiny little section. It doesn't look like a huge issue, but the problem is it could eventually become an issue. So I'm trying to debate if I want to try and stitch around the bag again a little bit lower, because it does say you can add 2 rows of stitching. But otherwise my top stitch is pretty dang consistent, so that's good. Man. I just don't know. I also might be able to like shift it up and try to catch it in the same row of stitching, but it doesn't seem likely that that will happen. So, man. It'll be easier to top stitch at these connectors this time because it's already secure. So I guess I'll do it. We'll just do it, okay? We'll just do it. Holding my threads. And start my row of stitching. And then I'm just going to follow that existing stitch line. Okay, I'm getting to that D-ring connector. Make sure you're folding your zipper panel down into the bag as you're top stitching. Okay, we're getting to the other D-ring. And then make sure that you pull your threads out cleanly. So like I just had to readjust. If you can't pull your thread cleanly, don't tug, because it just means your stitch might not be fully complete. Oh my goodness, what happened there? That wasn't an issue. Just added a little extra tension, that's all. Okay, so there is our top stitch. Everything has been caught. It's nice and secure. And we're ready to attach our strap, pull our threads, tie them off. All right, so now it's time to add our zipper end piece to the zipper of the bag. For this, I'm going to cut my zipper down quite a bit because you don't want, your zipper end wants to sit in the middle, but there's a divider right there, so I'm going to cut it to like here. You can use a little bit of glue on the end if you would like. I would like. Just adding Fabri-Tac. I usually like to seal the end of my zipper tape as well, but I don't have my lighter right now. Alright, I've got a screwdriver, I've got my screw. I like to keep my magnet. I like to keep my screw on a magnet until I'm ready to use it. and then insert, secure. And then we just need to finish off our crossbody strap. I have already added my slide adjuster. I'm just waiting on some snap hooks to finish it. But otherwise, it is so cute. This was such a fun, unique sew, honestly. Like, you can see there, nothing's gonna fall out. You've got your connector pieces up top here. I had that little snafu right there where I didn't quite catch, so I just added a second run of stitching, but I think it looks really good. It kind of complements the pieced exterior. I almost feel like my zipper pocket is too long. I maybe should have followed the directions as far as the size and cut my zipper panel to like 8 total, so it was a nice, I don't know. It's very large, but it's very useful at the same time. Like, it's such a big pocket. And then the inside here, we've got our zipper panel that opens, and you've got your fully sectioned sides of your bag. You've got a slip pocket, this side without a slip pocket, and then you've got this full center divider there. So, very awesome bag. Absolutely incredible the way it comes together, super easy. And then there's tons of other video tutorials if you want to check out. I think Michelle Graham has one. Kristen has done her own, I believe, and I'm sure you could find some others. There's the stitching we did on the bottom with the purse feet. But like, it's a really good size. Like, it feels petite, but it's going to be able to hold a lot. So thank you so much for allowing me to do a video. I hope I did this pattern justice. I hope that you will make it. Check out Kristen's other patterns, and I will see you all later. Bye. Sleek. So it's a really fun, like, tapered shape. I didn't have my microphone on. I wonder how it sounds like this. Like my flashy earring.